Oh my god, pressure. So it's great to be in, it's wonderful to be in Lithuania here. So the first thing I'm going to talk about is signing, what I'm going to talk about is the whole talent attracts talent concept, which I kind of have developed over my 15 years at JCI, and I've always been thinking about the best ways to help local and national organisations to develop, and what the main message is. And the recurring theme I came up with was that we need talented members, and we need to highlight the talents of our members in order to be able to attract the best newer members, in order to recruit the best, get the best partners on board for our projects, and also to get the best institutional support as well, like we have in Monaco, where the Prince supports us. So I came up with this short presentation, which is showing experience which I also have from JCI Monaco. In Monaco we had a strategic plan which we set up in 2015 for the next 3 years. We have a new strategic planning session and committee with past national presidents every 3 years, where we set up the strategy coming up, not just in terms of the policies, but we also look for the leaders of tomorrow and try to identify the talents who we can bring in. This helps ensure continuity from one year to the next. So in the 2015 strategic plan, we actually completely revolutionized everything. We switched everything. Instead of trying to touch everything and be average at every single domain, community, training, individual side, we focused on the 3 poles which we excelled at, which are entrepreneurship, training and networking, and that's how we actually increased our membership by about, we doubled our membership in 2 years, but especially in terms of active members. So the first thing I'm going to talk about is partnerships, the techniques we use in Monaco. So at JCI, you know, you've got the areas of opportunity, and the main ones are business and entrepreneurship. So in Monaco, what we do, we have 3 events. The Startup Weekend, which is to get from the idea to a business project. Get in the Ring, which aims to set up to get investors for major projects. The business plan competition in Monaco, that's a mainstay. It's our flagship project, where we get 61,000 euros of prizes donated by the government for business for young people. And then at JCI Slovakia, they had a great networking event called the Business Boot Camp, which was set up last year, which I really liked. So those are ideas of projects you can launch. Community projects, you just base yourself on the United Nations global goals. See find something useful that makes a difference. When we talk about community projects, it doesn't necessarily mean giving to charity. It means something that can help economic growth, that can help the people in Lithuania, the unemployed people, find good jobs and that sort of thing. So the United Nations global goals are really good as a marketing tool for that, to be able to gain credibility. It highlights the global side of the organisation. If you go to see the mayor of Vilnius or the president of the Republic of Lithuania, for example, if you say JCI is a global NGO which is linked to the United Nations and helps further the mission of the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, the global goals, that is really helpful. It's a great marketing and sales tool. Now, selling JCI to partners, I'm sure it's generally in most local or national organisations, it's generally the local president, or maybe the national president, or the VP for partnerships who is the only person, or maybe the project director, who sells the projects to partners or to governments. That's a mistake. Every single member needs to know the unique selling points of JCI. Every single member needs to sell JCI, needs to be able to know, because every single member has his own network, his or her own network, which they can develop. And the more you talk to the people within your network, be they government officials or maybe high net worth leaders, or just other business creators or business owners, or even your barber who might have I saw a barber shop I need to get my hair cut. So I was looking up barber shops in Vilnius, and I saw there's this traditional barber on the street who's got a franchise of about 5 or 6 stores all over Lithuania now. Even this guy, when you get your hair cut, you can talk to him, maybe his potential partner, because he does great marketing on the internet, for example. You can find partners in the most unexpected places when you talk about JCI properly. So it's not just the president or board members. At JCI Monaco, we set up a strategy. We've got a short PowerPoint, which I'm going to explain to you in 4 slides, which we present. Our VP for Partnership presents it every month during our monthly meeting to new members. That way they can, everybody knows how to sell. So here's an example. This is what we do in Monaco. No, that's jewellery. Here. This is in French, but I'll translate. So this is what we show when we go to see the Prince or the Prime Minister or any partners. We present this. So how do we present it? JCI Monaco, the main, the #1 movement of young leaders and entrepreneurs in the Principality of Monaco. So that's our tagline in Monaco. So it immediately explains. It can be anything. In Lithuania you can have a different tagline. This is just Monaco's one, where it's focused on business, but each country can have its own tagline.
Okay.
So find your competitive advantage and where your niche is. You've got to find where JCI is strongest depending on your market itself. It's all about adapting JCI's mission, global mission and global vision to the local market. So we talk about JCI at a global level, how it's a global movement with its mission and vision. And we talk about Monaco, the 3 major axes that make JCI stand up in Monaco: entrepreneurship, training and networking. So those are very business specific things because there's no community side, because Monaco is quite a rich country with no unemployment, so we don't really have a community needs. So we did a needs analysis. We saw that these were 3 things. Needs analysis based on the active citizenship framework. Then we present within each major poll the projects we have: entrepreneurship, startup weekend, business plan competition, get in the ring, and Grand Entrepreneur, which is where we have a whole group of entrepreneurs who go to see 15-year-old high school kids and teach them how to make a business, and they've got 1 day to turn their business project, their idea, into a business plan with the help of mentors from finance. Networking, business time happy hours, after work cocktails, breakfast events, trainings, personal development, how to create your business, language courses and specific trainings. We talk about the international side, how we can promote Monaco abroad at all these events like European Presidents Meeting, the European Conference, World Congress, for example. And that's a good way, for example, next year, or even this year, for companies in Monaco which have business links to Switzerland with Basel, or to the Netherlands with Amsterdam World Congress. We can actually talk and to develop business links, and we can give them. We can also offer direct access to the ambassador of Monaco, for example, in Belgium or the Netherlands, like somebody we met 6 years ago when we were in Brussels for the World Congress. And finally, we explain our organisation. So this is not just a random flowchart. If you look closer, what we do, we highlight the president's name, but we also highlight the job of every single person. Like last year's president ran a human resources company, which he set up. Secretary General in charge of a lobbying and Director General of a lobbying company. Our treasurer, financial controller of one of the major building companies in France. Past president, he created an IT company by himself. We've got the general manager of Regis Monaco. We've got the director of a major cleaning company. When we highlight and that's the main point, highlighting the professional activity and the talent of our members will help us give us credibility to others. So that's a really important factor. And yeah, that's all the slide. In six slides, we introduce what we are, and that gives a global vision. And we make sure that every single member knows the message to pass, but it's a united message that everybody knows about. So this is just a basic thing about, I'm not going to go into detail with it. It's the basic information about how to make a sale, how to prepare a meeting, use a sales-driven methodology, use your networks and most of your members, identify exactly what you're going to ask for. Are you going to ask for funding? Are you going to ask for press coverage? Are you going to ask for funding for a project or for your JCI local chapter in Vilnius, for example, in general? Or what are you going to ask for? Think about your needs before you go there. Identify what's in it for the partner, and then make sure that there's proper transmission, that there aren't 4 different people contacting the same partner at the same time. It seems obvious, but that's a mistake that happens often when people get too enthusiastic. During the meeting, the elevator pitch to introduce JCI and what you do and introduce the project. That's super important. 30 seconds to present that. That's the attention span of somebody to attract their attention. And also talk about unique selling points. That's the main thing. Sell JCI and sell the pride of being a JCI member. We must really be proud of who our members are, what we do in our professional lives, what we do in our day jobs. Day jobs and JCI go hand in hand. JCI is a hobby and not a main job. People think sometimes that we actually work for JCI because we're so involved. But when they actually realize that JCI is only a hobby, we get even more credibility that way, because we see that we're involved, they see that we really invest a lot of time and energy and money into the organisation, and that gives us a huge credibility boost. We need to be proud of the fact that our members have talent. As I said, talent attracts talent, and this is super important. We need to adapt these arguments to our partner. Hello. Hey, good to see you again.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah. So, sorry, I was just doing a mini training live on. Yeah, make sure there's a signed contract. People forget that there's a signed contract, and people forget to follow up on the contracts as well. Everybody thinks, wow, I've signed the contract and we've got a one-shot, we've got 20,000 euros. But if you don't follow up and deliver on the contract agreement, it's the same like in any financial or sales transaction. If I work with a jewellery shop in Vilnius, for example, I was explaining to my customer earlier, my goal is not to sell my customer 20,000. I prefer to, and then never sell to them again. I prefer to sell to them the first time 10,000, then another 5,000, then another 5,000, and then sell 50,000 at the end of the year instead of just 20,000. And you need to have the same. Thing at JCI as well. The same mindset. You're looking for sustainable long-term partnership and not just a one-shot. Make sure you send a thank you letter after the event to the partners. All this seems really obvious, but lots of people forget to do it, which is unfortunate. Sorry, this is all in Serbian from last year. And actually, this is maybe what the crux of it is: how to go and motivate members and develop new leaders. And actually, it's not very different from what I said. It's the same sales-driven methodology as before. It's all about talking about highlighting the talents, highlighting what we are, highlighting our unique selling points, and really pushing them. So, as I said, same arguments as before. Every member needs to know our elevator pitch and know how to sell JCI to a friend as well. If every member, like you've got 19 members at JCI Vilnius. If every single of your members recruits just one new person, a friend of theirs, because it seems easy, it's mathematical, it's like the Christmas tree thing, you know? It doubles. At the end of the year, you've got 38 members. So that's the thing. Another thing, which we did in Monaco, I'm not saying it works everywhere, but in Monaco it really worked. We doubled our membership. In 2 years, we doubled our membership of active people who are really focusing on projects. What we did, we closed our registrations. Like, we stopped recruiting members actively. And we doubled our membership. How? Because when people asked us, how can I become a member? We didn't say you can't become a member. So fill in this form, and then each individual, first of all, we check the criteria. Is the person aged between 18 and 40? Does the person live or work in Monaco? So we did a first filtering process like this. And then the second thing is having a one-on-one individual personalized meeting between the VP for recruitment and the new candidate member before they get admitted. Why? Because we need to make sure that expectations are managed from both sides. Lots of people get disappointed with JCI because they come in, they think it's a student organisation. When the positioning isn't right, when we don't know how to sell it with one unified message, we don't know what it is. So, is this a student organisation? Do we actually work for JCI, or are we volunteers? There's loads of sorts of. Do we focus on community projects? Do we focus on business? Do we focus on networking? Are we a leadership incubator program? Do we focus on training? Are we a training organisation? It's important to have a single message, and if there's no single message, people are disappointed and they leave, or they work on one project which they're really passionate about, like the Startup Weekend, or one of a community project because they really like it, and then they don't actually get involved in the whole organisation, which is a shame. So it's important. So that's why we have this individual meeting where we explain exactly what we do in Monaco. The candidate member explains what their expectations of JCI, what they want to learn, and with that we fit them directly into a project which will suit their personalities the best. And we make sure that we have monthly assemblies every month. So we make sure that every single new candidate member, observer member who's just joined, stands in front of a crowd and introduces him or herself to everybody. Both at what they do at JCI, what they do in life as well, professionally. Last year, there's a lady who came in for the first time, and it turned out she worked in the jewellery business as well, like me. And then so we immediately got in touch, we immediately became good friends, and even though she was working for a competitor, and we're still very good friends now, because we had things in common. And when each new member presents to, first of all, it's a great icebreaker. It's already getting the new member out of their comfort zone, and also it helps increase their networking. So the fact that I was also working in the jewellery business gave her added value, and it motivated her more to get involved at JCI because she made new friends immediately. So that's the thing, there's nothing to lose, and it's already part of the personal development training process. And as I said, we've got very good results. We've doubled our active membership in 2 years thanks to this system. I'm not saying it's a magic solution that works everywhere. Try it and see. Maybe in your new local organisation it's something that can be tried, and if it does work then you can extend it elsewhere, or you can use the example to extend it elsewhere. There's no magical recipe. What works in Monaco does not necessarily work abroad, but if you don't try you'll never know, as I say. So another thing, once you've recruited the best members, as I said, talent attracts talent, so it's important to highlight the quality of the members who are already there as well. Highlight their jobs, highlight what you do, highlight the fact that you run a training business, that you're a Chinese teacher, that you're a sales expert, that you're a professional coach, a motivational coach, like all these things. It seems taboo. I've got the feeling in some JCI organisations it's taboo to talk about money, it's taboo to talk about business, it's taboo to talk about your jobs. It's not, it shouldn't be. JCI should not be a compensating factor for non-fulfilling professional life. It should be something that helps your professional life, and you should use your JCI skills. Like last year I did loads of, I met loads of people and I did loads of presentations when I was a vice president, and when I'm traveling all around Europe for my day job now at APM, I'm using those skills in my day job to improve, to be a better salesperson. And likewise, the skills I learned at APM, but I use at APM for sales to convince people to buy jewellery, I use them at JCI as well, and it's a virtuous circle in a way. So having a very fulfilled professional life and having a good JCI life should be complementary and go hand in hand, and not be an antithesis. Once you've recruited the best members, we need to keep them motivated. That's one thing, what you were saying earlier, that people join for a project but then they leave after 2 months because they get bored or because they haven't understood or because the project's over. We need to make things stimulating. That's it. Good projects, there needs to be innovation. You shouldn't run the same projects every year. There must be at least, you must keep the same projects. It's like we were talking about the fashion business. In the fashion business, Zara, for example, they have new collections every month, or Massimo Dutti. They have new collections every month. However, they keep their best sellers all the time, and then they introduce new collections to be able to have this refreshment. And actually at APM in the jewelry business, we do the same. We follow the same business model. We've got our best sellers, then we've got new collections that come in every month or every 6 months. It should be the same at JCI. You keep your best core projects and you introduce 1 or 2 new projects every year. It brings in new blood. You've got to maintain a good atmosphere, of course. We're all volunteers, we're not here to fight in our free time. Recruit members and think about what's in it for the member when you recruit them. What can they gain from taking part in the project? So what's in it for the member? There's networking, they can make business contacts, they can develop their personal development, they can develop their business skills. Oh, and JCI can also help you make money through your contacts. Don't be ashamed or afraid of selling the fact that JCI can help you make money. You know, we're personal development. Personal development is growth. It's also becoming wealthier in your life and getting new clients and developing things. We shouldn't be ashamed of that at all. Keep the interest going. We need new blood every time. The main interest of JCI is in its diversity. A local chapter or national chapter must have men and women in equal numbers. It must have students, it must have professionals, it must have entrepreneurs, it must have employees, it must have people of different skill sets, with different jobs. The more diversity there is, the more friction there is, the more static electricity, and the more energy, and the more new ideas. That's how to develop a powerful local organisation. I've seen some local organisations in the past where the same members on the national board every year, and they just rotate positions, and the same 5 members are in charge, and they're a closed club, and nobody wants to join them because they're a group of friends. So. That's the thing. Every single member should be involved and play an active role. When you're running a project or a team, there shouldn't be one member who directs everything. It should be collaboration. There should be strong teamwork at all levels. Even on a local board, on a national board, it must be a whole team thing where every member has a role to play. Any member who comes out of a meeting without something to do or without a task for next week will be demotivated and leave. We need to give them something at the end of each meeting, at each project. When we're organising the startup weekend, before the next meeting, there's a meeting summary, and there's a list of tasks for every single person, so they have something to do by next week. Value the members as well. That's one thing. When we're talking about talent attracts talent, talented people need to be valued and need to be recognised. Show that the members have value, highlight their business profile, their professional profile, or highlight the fact that the members they've been JCI members for 8 or 9 or 15 years. Highlight the fact that they're senators, highlight their value, highlight their track record, highlight the fact that they've got their motivational speakers in their professional lives. There's always, every single member has their unique selling points. You need to highlight them as well. I always talk about USPs, unique selling points and things like that, because JCI, when you're looking for partnerships, you're recruiting new members, it's all about sales. We need to, and the elevator pitch, the same thing. We're in a permanent sales mode right now, so that's the thing. The leaders of JCI, like the local presidents or the project directors, need to deliver a positive impact at every single moment. You cannot have an off day when you're managing a project or when you're a local president. You need to be positive. You can't lose your temper. You can't be rude. You can't snap back at a member. Why? Because we're a volunteer organisation. In a professional organisation, you've got the carrot and the stick. So you've got different ways of doing it. In a volunteer organisation, you only have a carrot, which means that you can only motivate people in a positive manner. You cannot threaten them. They must be positively motivated. So that's very important. At the end of a meeting, the attendee needs to have the energy to come back happy and satisfied and want to have more afterwards. Organise the events and the... Yeah, sorry. Cheers. Sorry? Isvekata. Yes. Almost as good as Turvy sex. Yeah, I need to breathe a bit as well while I'm talking. Another thing, organise events and meetings in a professional manner. There must be no time wasting. I've been to national board meetings in Monaco, which lasted 8 hours. We started the meeting at 6:30 in the evening, and we finished at 2:30, eating pizzas in the middle. After 2 hours, there's no concentration, and it's total time wasting. But it's good because everybody has something to say and everybody's passionate. That's why even though the chairperson is good, sometimes the meetings last long because there's lots to discuss. There must be an agenda when you organise a local board meeting or national board meeting. There must be no time wasting. Highlight the pleasure that the members should take as well. It's their spare time. They must have a friendly atmosphere. All the time, if you're a freelancer, the time you spend for JCI is time you're not spending for yourself and making money. You know, it's like if you're a consultant or a trainer or a web designer a web designer generally works at night. That's what my friend in Monaco does. He works at night. And he works for 3 hours for JCI. It's 3 hours which he is not invoicing to his clients. We need to make sure that the talented people spend their time at JCI in a wise manner. Develop good projects. Needs analysis. As I said, entrepreneurship training and networking works in Monaco. It does not necessarily work in Lithuania. What works in Monaco doesn't work in France, for example. It doesn't work in Lithuania, or maybe it does. We don't know. We need to do a needs analysis. See what works best to raise JCI's profile. As I said, innovate continuously. Stagnation and having repetitive projects every year demotivates members. And have a national awards ceremony if you can to reward the people. We've got the European awards, but there are lots of countries which don't have national awards. In Monaco we don't, for example. We should do, maybe. Rewarding best projects. It will motivate people to become project leaders. How do we prevent membership decline? If there's a moment of doubt, like you've been talking about, maybe that can happen in any organisation, in Lithuania, in Monaco, elsewhere, what we did, always go back to the basics. Remember what drove your success in the past and go back to it. Always innovate and list the positives. I'm nearly done, don't worry. So list the positives and how that's got you where you are. Consider, if you're a local president or a national president, consider if JCI was your own business. What do you do if your business is about to go into the ground? What do? Do you change your pricing strategy? Do you change your target audience? Do you change your clients? You change your commercial offer? You change your targets? Same thing at JCI. If your local organisation is going down the drain, you try to reevaluate your strategy according to the competitive market. And another thing, imagine that you managed to turn around your JCI local chapter and you managed to go, like, let's say you were in decline in Kaunas last year and you managed to get to 10 to 40 members. In that case, you can learn from what you did to do at JCI and use these techniques in your real life. If your own business or your own professional life is in trouble, you can use it as an experience and to give yourself confidence afterwards in the future. Last thing about cultivating the leaders of tomorrow, that's super important. Last year, I had 2 or 3 local national organisations which didn't have national presidents, or who had huge amounts of trouble looking for national presidents and finding one. And it's the same at local level and at different levels. I find that in JCI in general, we have more and more trouble, even in Monaco, we have more and more trouble finding future leaders because they're scared of a commitment, because they're afraid of they see that the current leaders are working so hard, they're afraid. How can I do it? I'll never be able to combine it with my family. I'll never be able to combine it with my work. I'll never be able to, where will I have a time? Oh, I better give up and not try. That's a shame because it's a rewarding experience. Now let's stop the myth that being a president is difficult. It is not difficult, you just need to be organised. It's incredibly challenging, but it's also incredibly rewarding. I had an amazing year when I was national president. I had huge challenges. However, it was an amazing experience. Past officers should share the positive experience they've had. If you get all your past presidents of JCI Lithuania who come in, or the past local presidents of your chapters who come in and share their experiences to the new members, like it's what I try to do in Monaco, even though I'm not very active nowadays. I try to do that. I try to share my experiences with the new members and to try to give them some drive and some energy, because if I got to where I am now and I'm able to come to Lithuania and talk and monologue for half an hour, it's because I actually got practice 10 years ago, or 7 years ago, before I became national president. I would have been absolutely incapable of talking in public for ages like this, but it's because we get passionate about what we do and all that. Have an A4 sheet, this is basic, but have a job description about being a president or being a vice president or being a treasurer. Every single job needs a job description, that's standard with a task, but also have a section, what's in it for you if you run for the position? What do you develop as soft skills as a local or national president? What are the leaderships do you get? What is the network you get? Think about what's in it for them as well. Sell it as like you're selling a new job, you know, like you're recruiting a new employee. It's the same thing. As I said before, assuming a local or a national presidency is a dress rehearsal with 0 risk, because you've got no risk, it's not like you're owning your own business, which you can apply to your business career. Set up a strategic plan, like what I was telling Gintaras about Monaco. Have a strategic plan, identify the young leaders of tomorrow with good potential, and fast track them. A few years ago in Monaco we had David Sirol, 2015 national president. He joined in 2011 when he was 36 years old, and we saw he was super talented, and so we trained him to become a national president when he became 40, so that we didn't lose out on his talent because of the aging out thing. All we need is people with strong enthusiasm, who are clever, who've got good skills, and also a good professional background. And we need to challenge members to do different things than what they do in their day jobs. It's all about getting out of their comfort zone. So anyway, that's my conclusion. So I've talked about partnerships, I've talked about recruiting members, motivating them, cultivating their loyalty, and making sure that they're leaders of tomorrow. So I hope that all made sense for you, and it was helpful. You've all got it on video now, and I can even send you the slides with the Serbian comments, you see. Yeah, I wrote in Serbian, you see, Ima li pitanja, do you have any questions? So that's the thing.
Kevin, thank you very much.
Yeah, my pleasure. Okay, thank you, and how do you say that? Achu. And I'm very happy to be in Lithuania and happy to be able to help you in my own very modest manner. Okay, thank you
very much.
Thank you. Cheers.